you so much for joining us today for our panel discussion. Today we have got Kathy Cronin and Susan Jarboe, so you know it's going to be good. I've got the topic, but before we get into that, let us open with prayer. I invite you to let go of anything that doesn't belong right here and right now, and let's take a breath together and turn within. God, we rejoice in this opportunity to connect, recognizing that our connections, our relationships are sacred, that our hearts are involved, that our spirituality, our sociability grow and develop as we connect with one another. Thank you, God. Amen. Okay, our topic today comes out of what is actually a little codependency book. It's not so little. It's The Language of Letting Go by Melody Beattie, and it's all about daily reflections on how to move past codependency. But I think we can all relate to this one. Today we're doing initiating relationships. Here we go. Often, we can learn much about ourselves from the people to whom we are attracted. As we progress through recovery, we learn we can no longer form relationships solely on the basis of attraction. We learn to be patient, to allow ourselves to take into account important facts and to process information about that person. What we are striving for in recovery is healthy attraction to people. We allow ourselves to be attracted to who people are, not what their potential is or what we hope they are. The more we work through our family of origin issues, the less we'll find ourselves needing to work through them with the people we're attracted to. Finishing our business from the past helps us to form new and healthier relationships. The more we overcome our need to be excessive caretakers, the less we will find ourselves attracted to people who need to be constantly taken care of. The more we learn to love and respect ourselves, the more we will become attracted to people who will love and respect us, and who we can safely love and respect. This is a slow process. We need to be patient with ourselves. The type of people we find ourselves attracted to does not change overnight. Being attracted to dysfunctional people can linger long and well into recovery. That does not mean we need to allow it to control us. The fact is, we will initiate and maintain relationships with people who need to be with until we learn what it is we need to learn. No matter how long we've been recovering, no matter who we find ourselves relating to and what we discover happening in the relationship, the issue is still about us and not about the other person. That is the heart, the hope, and the power of recovery. We can learn to take care of ourselves during the process of initiating and forming relationships. We can learn to go slowly. We can learn to pay attention. We can allow ourselves to make mistakes even when we know better. We can stop blaming our relationships on God and begin to take responsibility for them. We can learn to enjoy the healthy relationships and remove ourselves more quickly from the dysfunctional ones. We can learn to look for what's good in us instead of what's good in the other person. And here's a little prayer that goes with us. God, help me pay attention to my behaviors during the process of initiating relationships. Help me take responsibility for myself and learn what I need to learn. I will trust that the people I want and need will come into my life. I understand that if it's a relationship that is not good for me, I have the right and the ability to refuse to enter into it, even though the other person thinks it may be good for him or her. I will be open to the lessons I need to learn about me in the relationship, and I am prepared for the best possible relationships with people. Okay, I was really drawn to this reading because I've had some very unhealthy relationships. And even knowing they were unhealthy, I felt obligated to continue some of those relationships, especially where family or employers or employees are concerned. I feel like I need to have a relationship with that person even if it does not support my highest and best self. Learning to overcome that and stand up for myself and look for relationships that are healing and supporting and loving has been a long journey for me. Right now in my life, I am surrounded by a group of women that definitely bring out my highest and best self, but that has not always been the truth. And I would love to hear how my panel initiates relationships and how they handle the healthy ones and the unhealthy ones. Who would like to share next? Kathy.
Okay. Thank you, Reverend Linda. I, relationships is such an interesting topic to always get because every single day we're in a relationship with ourselves, with someone else, whether it's our spouses, our families, children, employers, just friends. We have all kinds of relationships. And what I really liked in that writing is a lot of this takes time to really develop relationships. But I also recognize that in my life, there are different relationships that I have. It's almost like different buckets of friendships. There's the friends that I get together with and we moan and groan together. It's a place that we can vent and we can just sort of, basically, it's not totally the healthiest, but it's our way of releasing those pressure valves, And I remember somebody saying at one point in time is, if you're complaining, the question to ask is, are you just venting or do you want advice? Then there's my group of friends, those relationships that are the ones that will give me sound advice. Those are the ones that I trust to guide me, to basically open me up into, thinking a little more deeper, seeing it on a different perspective, see a different thing. And then there's the totally loving, nurturing, and there's crossovers. There's the people that are in that just, love me no matter what mood I'm in, what cantankerousness I may be or loving, thing. But I also understand what she said in there is that sometimes if we're the caretaker, if we're the ones that always step in to be the rescuer, which was years ago when I was in a group therapy, it was my characterization. We were defined as Mighty Mouse. It was like, here I come to save the day. It was the role that I sort of took on. It was, I'm the one that's going to come and rescue everyone. I'm the one that's going to resolve these issues. And then I feel burnt out because it seems like I'm always doing that. And that was a great point in that what you shared with us is that sometimes maybe we need to just step back, be quiet, and not be the rescuers, not come in because we're developing that that neediness of others to, we attract to us. We attract to us what we're putting out there. And so I was putting out there that I can be the rescuer. I can help you. I will be there. And then if I felt like I was just being used or taken, then I have to ask myself, did I do this to myself and set that boundary? And that's part of it, is understanding the boundaries in relationships, is what type of relationship I have. So there is not a moment in your day that you're probably not in some relationship, but the biggest, most important relationship is the one I have with myself, and the one that I develop with my God. In those two, when I'm good with both myself and with my relationship with God, then all the other relationships fill where they need to be, and nourish me. So thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, Linda, you certainly have come up with a subject that is one of my favorite subjects, as I have spent most of my working life teaching a course in interpersonal communication. And that course is about communication within the context of close and intimate relationships. And you're right that relationships, uh, solid ones, they do take time to develop. And the first stage of relation development is really just saying hello. Yeah, just being polite. We tend to be follow norms of public behavior, and it's sort of a greeting phase. Hey, you're another person on the planet. Then we might move into an experimenting phase, which is where we find out more about the person. Maybe you have something in common that you can talk about. People often talk about the weather and disparage talking about the weather. However, it's something people have in common, and that is the value in talking about the weather. You can move on beyond experimenting to some sort of intensification. And that means you might spend more time with each other, or you might talk with each other a lot more. And it's in this intensification phase that you might discover that the other person really isn't a good person to have a relationship with, be it a friend or a romantic partner. The thing about, and there are other phases too that can lead into romance, and I won't go that far. But you're right about going slowly. And what we teach our students is have the appropriate communicative behavior for the phase you're in. So, for example, in the initiation phase, where people are just beginning to say hello, one of the things I've often asked my students is, have any of you had the experience of being in an initiation phase with someone, but they're going too fast? They're self-disclosing too much or giving you too many compliments. And all of my students raise their hands. They know when a relationship feels uncomfortable because it isn't following the norms of what initiating is all about. Um, When another thing about initiating relationships that we play around with is we've all heard birds of a feather flock together and then opposites attract. And so students will ask me, well, which is true? Well, both can happen. And one of the things that's a way to approach other people is to what is it? To behave to them as they want to be seen by you. And what we look for often in other people is someone who brings out the best in us. Somehow they're treating us as if we actually were our very best self. And those are the people that we tend to ultimately be drawn to and who tend to become our friends and confidants. There were a couple of points that you said that I thought were really important, which is go slowly. Don't don't jump ahead. One of the things young people say is don't come across as needy. And there's a truth in that. We tend not to, we might tend to feel smothered somehow by someone who is so encompassing. You also said something that I think is really important, and that is for us not to be controlled by attraction. And while we might immediately think of romantic relationships, that's true of any kind of close relationship. We have to be aware of our feelings and our needs and be, what do I want to say, a bit rational, perhaps, about our relationships. So thank you so much for bringing up a subject that I have always found fascinating and that I personally love talking about. And I'll give it back to you.
Thank you, Susan. Thank you, Kathy. Great feedback. And I'll invite you both back as we come to a close, talking about initiating relationships. We would love to have a relationship with you, our viewer. If you are not already a subscriber, we invite you to subscribe. If you're on YouTube, you can hit that little notification bell and you'll get notified every time we post a new video. If you think you'd like to initiate a larger relationship with us, we invite you to join us on our panel. We are always looking for new panelists. We love having some diversity, so don't worry if you don't agree with everything that we're saying, or you want to bring up a topic you think might be surprising to us. Bring it along, and we would love to have you with us. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you'll be back soon. Goodbye.
Thank you for joining us, and let's stay connected and grow in spirit. We are on Facebook. Search for Unity Church of El Cajon and follow us and like our posts. You can reach us on YouTube at Unity Church of El Cajon. Please subscribe to our channel, watch our videos, and leave comments which can help us improve. We are on the web at unityofelcajon.org. Email or call our church office to receive our weekly newsletters, which lists all of our activities and opportunities to learn and grow together.